Hello and welcome once again to series of videos on structural analysis. After watching this video, you will be able to analyze continuous beam with sinking of supports using stiffness matrix method. So in this video, you will learn how to solve a numerical example on continuous beam with sinking of support and how to draw the bending moment diagram for that beam. So before we start, let us first understand what is meant by sinking of support. You know that the beam is normally supported over the column. So if any of the support, that is if any of the column settles after loading the beam, that is if support goes down from its original level, then it is called as sinking of support. For example, consider this a fixed beam. These supports means nothing but there are two columns, and since columns are rigidly connected to the beam, if column settles, then end of the beam goes down from its original level. So this is called as sinking of support. And due to sinking of support, additional moments are developed at the end of the beam. So we are interested in calculating what are the additional moments due to sinking of support. I have already shared a basic video explaining procedure and terminology used in stiffness matrix method and what is the basic equation used in stiffness matrix method. So I hope you must have watched my basic video on analysis of continuous beam using stiffness matrix method. I will suggest you to watch that video first before this video to understand the terminology used in solving the numerical example. So I will provide the link in description box. This is that problem which I have already explained how to solve this continuous beam using stiffness matrix method. So do watch this video before watching this video. Now to understand the concept of sinking of support and how to solve the numerical example on beam with sinking of support, we will consider this beam A, B, C, D with fixed support at A and D and simple supports at B and C. The flexural rigidity is different for different members. There is no load on this beam. There is only sinking of support B by 10 millimeter. So this support B goes down by 10 millimeter. So what will be the effect of this sinking on the moments in this beam? So this is a problem of sinking of support. Here we are considering support B sinks by 10 millimeter. And flexural rigidity, that is EI value, is given as 6000 kilonewton meter square. So let us solve this problem using stiffness matrix method. Let us first revise the steps for analysis of beam using stiffness matrix method. So basic equation of stiffness matrix method is AD is equal to ADL plus SD. In this equation, the unknown is D matrix and our aim is to calculate the quantities in D matrix. So this is a structure stiffness matrix method. There is also one more stiffness matrix method which is called as member stiffness matrix method. So in this video, I will explain you how to solve the problem on sinking of support using structure stiffness matrix method. So let us first understand the meaning of each matrices given in this equation. So first matrix is AD matrix. A stands for actions and D stands for deformations. So actions in the direction of deformations. So for example, in this beam, the unknown deformations are theta B and theta C. Degree of kinematic indeterminacy is 2 and unknowns are theta B and theta C. If there are two unknowns, then size of this AD matrix is n by 1 means 2 by 1. N is number of unknown deformations in the structure. So AD matrix means action in the direction of deformation. For example, in this beam, this 120 kilonewton meter is the action in the direction of theta. So this will appear in AD matrix. If there is no external moment acting at B or at C, then AD matrix will be 0. Next is ADL matrix. A stand for action, D for deformation, and L for load. So actions in the direction of deformation due to load. So size of matrix is n by 1. If number of unknown thetas are n, then size of ADL matrix is n by 1. For example, in this case, what are the actions due to load? The fixed end moments, which is at B, that is MFBA and MFBC, is ADL1, and MFCB will be ADL2. So this is the meaning of ADL, actions in the direction of deformation due to load. Deformation means theta. In this direction, what is the action? There are fixed end moment at B, BA and BC. So addition of MFBA and MFBC is one of the element of ADL matrix, and MFCB will be second element of this matrix. So if number of unknowns are 2, then size of this ADL matrix is 2 by 1. Next is stiffness matrix. S stands for stiffness. So size of stiffness matrix is n by n. So we will see this afterward, how to develop this matrix, stiffness matrix. The last one is D matrix. D stand for displacements. So this is the matrix of unknown displacements. If there are two displacements unknown, then the size of matrix will be 2 by 1. Now in this equation, D matrix is the unknown matrix. So the aim is to determine these unknown redundant displacement by solving above joint equilibrium equation. So this equation is nothing but a joint equilibrium equation. As you know that stiffness matrix method is a matrix form of slope deflection method. So in slope deflection method, we write the joint equilibrium equation. So these joint equilibrium equations are written in matrix form in stiffness matrix method. So this equation is nothing but a joint equilibrium equation in matrix form. In stiffness matrix method, our aim is to calculate these unknown displacement. For example, in continuous beam, the unknown displacements are always thetas at the joint. At fixed end, at fixed support, the thetas are 0, and at other intermediate supports, the unknown displacement is theta. So in continuous beam, the unknown displacement means theta at the joint. So size of D matrix is always n by 1, where n is number of unknown displacements. So in stiffness matrix method, we generate all these matrices one by one and write the equation like this. And after this, we calculate this D using Gauss elimination method or by simultaneous equations, solving the simultaneous equations. And after that, after calculating the unknown displacements, we can use the slope deflection equations to calculate the support moments of all the members. So let us see how to apply these steps for the continuous beam with sinking of support. As I already told you that to understand this numerical example on sinking of support, we are going to consider this beam without any external load. And in this beam, support B sinks by 10 millimeter and flexural rigidity is 6000 kilonewton meter square. Step number 1 is to calculate degree of kinematic degree degree of kinematic indeterminacy. We calculate degree of kinematic indeterminacy to understand how many unknown displacements are there in the structure. So in the given beam, as I told you that to calculate kinematic indeterminacy, we have to just count how many simple supports are there in the structure. So in this beam, there are two simple supports B and C, and therefore kinematic indeterminacy for this case is 2. So there are two unknowns which are theta B and theta C. So unknown displacements in this beam are theta B and theta C. So this is the first step to understand what are the unknown displacements in the structure. Second step is to calculate the fixed end moment. So if the beam is loaded with some external load, so first of all you have to calculate what are the fixed end moments due to load. But since in the given problem no external loads are there on the beam, and therefore we don't have to calculate fixed end moment. However, the support B sinks and there are fixed end moments due to sinking of supports. So let us see how to calculate the fixed end moment due to sinking of supports. So as you know that support B sinks by 10 millimeter. So here this is part AB. When the support B sinks, there will be effect of sinking of support B only on member AB and BC. There will not be any effect of sinking of support on member CD. So whatever members are connected to that support, only those members will be affected. So here we have to calculate fixed end moment due to sinking for member AB and for member BC. When support B sinks, that means support A is above support B, then in that case, to maintain the zero slope at the supports A and B, the moments are developed in anti-clockwise nature. And these moments are given by 6 EI delta upon L square. And why we are writing this minus sign? Because these moments are anti-clockwise. And our sign convention is anti-clockwise is negative and clockwise is positive. So using this standard formula, you have to calculate the fixed end moment developed due to this sinking of support. Now suppose in addition to this sinking, if there is some load on member AB, then you have to calculate the fixed end moment due to load separately using standard formula and then add those fixed end moment to this fixed end moment due to sinking. So here there is 10 millimeter sinking. So we can write here minus 6E. I is 2I. So we will write 2I and delta is 10 millimeter. So which is equal to 0.01. And length of the member is 3. So if you calculate this and if you substitute EI is equal to 6000, then you will get these fixed end moments as minus 80 kilonewton meter. Remember one thing that due to load, if at one support the fixed end moment is anti-clockwise, then at other end the fixed end moment is clockwise, that is opposite. But due to sinking of support, at both the ends, the nature of the fixed end moment developed are same. So at MFAB as well as MFBA is minus 80 kilonewton meter. Similarly, we can calculate now fixed end moment for member BC. So for member BC, this support C is above support B. To maintain zero slope here, the moments developed are in clockwise in nature and therefore the moments are positive. So here we will write plus 6E and I is 2.5I, 6EI delta upon L square. If you calculate this and substitute EI as 6000, then you will get plus 56.25 kilonewton meter as fixed end moment due to sinking of support B. If there is load, then you have to calculate the fixed end moment due to load and then add this moment to moment due to load. Now on member CD, there is no effect because of this sinking. And since there is no load on member CD, the fixed end moments MFCD and MFDC are 0. So this is how we can calculate fixed end moment in case of sinking of support. After calculating fixed end moments, the next step is to generate different matrices. So first of all, we will develop D matrix. So D matrix, to develop the D matrix, first of all, we have to draw the coordinates on the structure. So coordinates we draw in the direction of unknown displacements. So since here thetas are unknown, we draw the coordinate like this, curve coordinates. So this is suppose coordinate number 1 and this is coordinate number 2. So to generate this D matrix, you know that D means unknown displacements. So in direction of 1, unknown displacement is theta B. In direction of 2, unknown displacement is theta C. So you know that if number of unknowns are 2, then size of D matrix is 2 by 1. And this matrix contains theta B and theta C. These are the unknown displacements in the structure. So this is how we form the D matrix. After this, step number 4 is to form AD matrix. Now what is AD matrix? So here also we have to draw the coordinates. So AD matrix is action in the direction of deformation. So what are the actions in the direction of deformations? In the direction of this coordinate 1, what are the actions? These are nothing but the fixed end moments MFBA and MFBC. In the direction of 2, what are the actions? It is MFCB and MFCD. So let us calculate it. And as you know that the size of this matrix, sorry, here it should be AD matrix. The size of the matrix is 2 by 1. So this AD matrix is nothing but if there are external moments acting at B and C, that will appear in AD matrix. If there is no external moments acting at the joint, then in that case normally this AD matrix is 0 0. There is no, if suppose there is moment here, that will appear here. If there is moment here, that will appear here. Otherwise this will be 0 0 matrix. Then next step is to develop ADL matrix. Let me explain this AD matrix again. I think by mistake, I explained about ADL matrix here. So what is AD matrix? It is actions in the direction of deformations, and actions means if there are external actions acting at this joint, then only that will appear here. It is not about the fixed end moment at B and C. Fixed end moment will appear in ADL matrix, that is due to load. So here in AD matrix, if external moments are there, that will appear here. Otherwise, AD matrix is 0 0 matrix. For example, if there is 100 kilonewton meter moment acting at B, then in that case, if it is clockwise, it is in the direction of coordinate, then it will be plus 100. If it is anti-clockwise, then we have to write minus 100. So AD matrix is nothing but it is not due to load, but it is the direct moments acting at joint B and C. So here AD matrix is 0 0 since there is no external moment acting at joint B and joint C. Now next is to develop ADL matrix. Now ADL means actions in the directions of deformations. So ADL is due to load. Now here there is no load, but due to sinking also it will appear in ADL matrix. So ADL matrix will have size 2 by 1. Here n is 2 means number of unknown displacements are 2. So it is 2 by 1 matrix. So ADL 1 is MBA plus MBC. So here it should be MFBA and MFBC. And ADL2 is MFCB plus MFCD. Please write here F, MFCB and MFCD. F stand for fixed end moment. So if you substitute the values of fixed end moment due to sinking of support, as you know that MFCD is 0 here. If you substitute the values of fixed end moment and if you calculate, you will get minus 23.75 and 56.25. So ADL matrix is like this, minus 23.75 and 56.25. So this is the action in direction of 1 at B, and this is the action in direction of 2, that is at C. So this is how we form ADL matrix. Then next is to develop stiffness matrix. So this is most important matrix. Let us see how to develop stiffness matrix in this case. Now in this beam, since there are two unknown displacements, theta B and theta C, the size of stiffness matrix will be 2 by 2. Now let us see how to develop this stiffness matrix. So stiffness matrix will have size 2 by 2. So we first generate the first column of stiffness matrix. That means first we will calculate S11 and S21. So for that we have to apply deformation in the direction of theta B. So if you rotate this beam at B in this direction, in the direction of coordinate, then this beam will deform something like this. Since there is fixity, here there is zero slope. So when we develop or when we calculate the stiffness coefficient, first of all, except at that joint, we consider fixity at all other joint. That means if you want to calculate first column, that is at first coordinate, so except for the first coordinate, all other supports are considered as fixed supports. And then we rotate this beam in the direction of first coordinate. That means in the direction of theta B. So if you rotate this in the direction of theta B, then it will be like this. And you know that what is stiffness coefficient? The moment developed at 1 due to unit rotation at 1 is called as S11. The first letter indicate where the moment developed and second letter indicate where the unit rotation given. So S11 means the moment developed at 1 due to unit rotation at 1. This is our 1. S21 means moment developed at 2. This is our 2. Moment developed at 2 due to unit rotation at 1. That is S21. So you know that the definition of stiffness. So to rotate this by unity 1, the moment developed, if far end is fixed, then moment developed is 4 EI by L. So moment developed in member BA is 4 EI by L of BA plus 4 EI by L of BC. If you add it, you will get S11. What is S11? It is moment developed at 1 due to unit rotation at 1. When we give unit rotation at 1, these both the members BA and BC rotates, and therefore we have to add the moment developed in member BA as well as BC. So S11 is moment developed in member BA, which is 4 EI by L of member BA and 4 EI by L of member BC. So S11 is 5.167 EI. Now remember that property of stiffness matrix. So all diagonal members, you will get always positive value. Along the diagonal, that means S11 and S22 will never be negative value. So these are always positive value, but of the diagonal, it can be positive or negative. So this is S11. What is S21? It is moment developed at 2, means here at C. Moment developed at C due to unit rotation at 1. When we rotate it by 1, the carryover moment at C is 2 EI by L. So S21 is 2 EI by L, which is 1.25 EI. So this is how we generate first column. Now let us see how to generate second column. In similar way, we will generate second column. So to generate second column, again there are these two coordinates 1 and 2. So stiffness matrix will look 2 by 2, and we are generating this second column, means we are calculating S12 and S22. So we have to give unit deformation or unit rotation in direction of theta c. Here we have to rotate like this. When we rotate the beam like this and consider fixity at other points, then this beam will have deflected shape. This beam will have deflected shape like this. We will consider fixity at B, and if you rotate it by like this in the direction of coordinate, so this theta equal to 1. So what is S12 means? S12 means moment developed at 1 due to unit rotation at 2. We have given unit rotation at 2. What is the moment developed at 1? It will be carried over moment from this, that is 2 EI by L. So S12 is 2 EI by L, whereas S22 means moment developed at 2 due to unit rotation at 2. So there are two members, so it will be addition of for members CB and CD 4 EI by L. So here we will get S12 is 2 EI by L, 1.25 EI. This is moment developed here at B due to unit rotation at C, whereas S22 is moment developed at 2 due to unit rotation at 2. So we will get 1.25 EI and 5 EI. Remember that this stiffness matrix is a symmetric matrix. So these values are always positive and these values are same because it is symmetric matrix. So S12 is always equal to S21. So we get 1.25 EI. So if you write it in matrix form, this matrix will look like this. We can take EI outside and it is 5.167, 1.25, 1.25 and 5. So this is how we generate stiffness matrix. After developing all the matrices, our aim is to calculate unknown displacements. So next step is, this is equilibrium equation in matrix form. So next step is to solve this equilibrium equation. So to solve this equilibrium equation, we write all these matrices which we have generated in matrix form. I have neglected EI here because EI, we can't neglect EI here. We have to write it like this only. So if you calculate this, either you can use to calculate theta B and theta C, you can use any numerical method like Gauss elimination method, or you can write this equation like this: 0 is equal to minus 23.75 plus 5.167 EI theta B plus 1.25 EI theta C. That will be first equation. Second equation is 0 is equal to 56.25 plus 1.25 EI theta B plus 5 EI theta C. So you can write like this two simultaneous equations and you can calculate value of theta B and theta C. You can use any method by Gauss elimination or by writing the simultaneous equations. So if you solve this, you will get, after solving, we get theta B as 7.79 upon EI and theta C as minus 13.198 upon EI. So once you calculate these unknown displacement, this D matrix, the next step is to calculate the final moments MAB, MBA, MBC, MCB, MCD and MDC. These moments we calculate using slope deflection equation. So this step is to calculate final end moments. So to calculate final end moment, we use slope deflection equation. You know that slope deflection equation 2 EI by L twice theta A plus theta B plus fixed end moment. So here, since I is 2I here, so we write the theta A is 0 because it is fixed support. So theta B, if you substitute MF AB, you will get minus 69.613 kilonewton meter. Then MBA similarly you can calculate. You will get minus 59.227 kilonewton meter. So using slope deflection equations only, we calculate the final moments in the member. MBC is 2 EI by L twice theta B plus theta C. So we have calculated theta B and theta C. So we substitute here, substitute fixed end moment and calculate the value of final moment in member BC. So MBC means moment at B whose far end is C is 59.22. So if you see here, MBA was minus 59.22. So you must get MBC as plus 59.22. That means summation of moment at the joint, you must get 0. Then MCB, if you calculate using similar formula, you will get 33 kilonewton meter. So if you get MCB 33 kilonewton meter, MCD will be minus 33 kilonewton meter. So if you calculate MCD, you will get minus 33 kilonewton meter. Then MDC is minus 16.5 kilonewton meter. So this is how we calculate final end moments in the beam using slope deflection equations. Now last step is to draw the bending moment diagram. So whatever moments we have calculated for this beam, MAB, MBA, BC, CB, MCD and MDC, we plot it at respective point and then we have to join with a straight line because there is no load here. If there is load acting on this, then you have to superimpose this diagram by a positive diagram due to load. So in this case, since there is no load, this is only the final bending moment diagram for this case. So if you find the video on this channel useful, please share these videos. So thank you for watching.